On HBO's Inside the NFL. We're on the road in Boston, where the Patriots are preparing to battle the Dolphins for the AFC East title. Sports fans here in Beantown have come to expect passion and heartbreak. Maybe this year will end differently. Joining us are Patriots quarterback Drew Bledsoe, left tackle Bruce Armstrong, and linebackers Chris Slade and Ted Johnson. Pete Carroll hasn't been banned in Boston yet, but it's been a season of turmoil replacing a legend. And now, from the Harborside Hyatt with spectacular views of the Boston skyline, it's the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL, with your hosts, Len Dawson, Nick Bonacotti, Chris Collinsworth, and Jerry Glanville.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's show. Gentlemen, what a beautiful sunny day we have here in the Boston area.
But it is cold here in Boston.
It's freezing.
It's cold for you. You're from Atlanta. You're from Kentucky. You're from Miami. Maybe it's cold for you, but I'm from Kansas City. It's a beautiful day.
Get the suits out, baby. Here we go.
Let's talk about the New England-Miami contest coming up on Monday night. Of course, last week, Miami got blown away by the Indianapolis Colts, but the Patriots, they're still talking about that loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Very controversial call. Late in the ball game, the Patriots enjoyed an 8-point lead. Looked like they had things wrapped up, but on third down, they decided to throw a pass. It was intercepted, and Chris, that turned the ball game completely around.
It sure did, and with the way the Patriots defense was playing that day, you simply run the ball, punt it, make the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2 minutes with no timeouts go 80 or 90 yards down the field. I thought this coaching staff absolutely blew the football game that the players had won on the field. And what makes it even more disastrous, you take away that one interception, all of a sudden now we're talking about the Patriots as one of the hottest teams in football. They would have won 4 games in a row, coming off a big win over Jacksonville and the Pittsburgh Steelers, and the coaching staff just gave it away.
Yeah, but you can't throw away that interception. You can't eliminate that play. They took that play from the field into the locker room. Matter of fact, the defensive players were so upset at the offensive guys, they were pointing the fingers, almost got into a fist fight. So the question I have is, will this rift between the offensive guys and the defensive guys be healed before game time in Miami, or will this be a permanent scar?
And Nick, the guy that's taking most of the heat is the person who threw the interception, quarterback Drew Bledsoe. Jerry, my question to you, being an ex-coach, what should have happened to take the heat off of Drew Bledsoe?
Well, I would have handled it differently prior than Pete Carroll. I think what you do, the very first press conference, you walk in as the head coach, and I would say, you want to blame somebody for this loss? You think somebody made a mistake? Blame me. I'm the head coach. I call the play. Then your players come back. Your players get enthused, and they'll come back and win the next week. And I think what will save the Patriots is the fact that this play did not eliminate them from the playoffs. They get the play, and I think if they win this week, this play will be forgotten.
I think any team, all they want to do is get to the playoffs with an opportunity to win the Super Bowl. The Patriots are in the position of needing to win to get a home game in the playoffs only because of what we've been discussing, the incredible ending to last Saturday's contest with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
In Foxborough last Saturday, the 96 AFC champs hosted the 95 AFC champs in a battle royale where the hitting started long before kickoff.
Coach said, we're going to start off with tempo. Middle left, right here. Tempo, baby. Money, big play pays. 1, 2, 3, go.
Snap to Stewart, looks, fires left. It is intercepted by William Malloy at the 40, 35, 30, to the 28-yard line, to the 26 of Pittsburgh goes William Malloy. Great play by William Malloy.
Let's go, baby, in the end zone.
Pittsburgh 17, Bledsoe, play action. Looking, firing, open, Coach, 5, end zone, touchdown, Ben Coach. Touchdown number 26 on the season for Drew Bledsoe.
Play the call. You rush, goes Ralph to Larry. They're not doing anything to us, so we can't cover, okay?
Bledsoe calling signals. He rolls back to throw. He's got a man wide open. Patriots turn another turnover into the score here in the first half.
Pittsburgh got a 14-point deficit to 1. Then the Patriots unloaded.
We're still champs. We're at the World Championship. They still got to come to us.
In a game with playoff implications, New England took an 8-point lead when big-game veteran Dave Meggett willed himself downfield on a 49-yard masterpiece.
Bledsoe fires it up the field. It is caught by Meggett at the 25, at the 20, at the 15, right sideline of the 10, cuts it back into the 5, driving down and in. Touchdown! A spectacular play! What a play by Meggett, the toughest little son of a gun on the field.
What separates true champions from posers isn't just muscle, it's the will to win, and the Steelers demonstrated just that in the final minutes.
Bledsoe to throw it. Big blitz. Intercepted! Here comes a big man with a football. Kevin Henry Ramblin'. Ramblin'. 25-20. He's down to the 10. A lateral for the touchdown. Or lateral to Orpheus Ray. And a flag is down at the 12. Hold up. I think it's a forward lateral.
It was, so they took over at the 18, and 3 plays later, Cordell Stewart faced a do-or-die 4th and 7.
Blitz. He's back. He steps up. He throws the ball for the out pattern, and it is
Incomplete, or is it a catch? It is.
No, they call it complete at the 5-yard line, and the Steelers move the sticks on 4th down. How about that? Power formation. Sends his wing back, Whitman in motion. Is back. Fires for the end zone. Touchdown, Steelers. Mark Bruno in the end zone, and the Steelers now have to go for 2 to tie it.
Goal line.
Great teams aren't great all the time, they're just great when they have to be, as Yancey Thigpen's 2-pointer brought the Steelers all the way back to a 21 all-time.
Never over till it's over, baby. Right. Don't see no fat lady.
On 3rd and 15, a slash-and-dash hookup to Courtney Hawkins had Pittsburgh in range of a miracle, and their 3rd overtime win of the season.
Still on his feet, he's got the first down. Open field to the 40, 45-50. Needs a blocker, gets to the 40, and is knocked down at the 38-yard line.
60 minutes. If it takes 64, we got it.
31-yard field goal attempt in overtime.
Come on, Norm.
Good snap, ball down. Norm's kick is on its way. That kick is long enough. That kick is high enough, and that kick is good. And the Steelers climb out of the grave and defeat the Patriots in overtime. If there were any doubters, I don't know where they are in Steelerland.
Norm, good job, Norm. Damn, you a hell of a kicker. You a hell of a kicker, Norm. Damn. We said it's going to be a heavyweight fight. That's right. Strongest man will go out on top. Give me some of that. Do it. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable, man. Nobody believed us, baby. We 11-4 now. What we say in the preseason? We told we was going to surprise a lot of people. What we doing? Surprise them, baby.
New York fans had a warm welcome for Jeff Hostetler, the hero who guided them to their last division title in 1990.
You couldn't have won if you fell out of a boat. This is our house, Hoss. It ain't yours anymore, baby. It was never yours. The blue, baby. You played over your head for 3 days. Hey. Hey, one thing to say, baby. This is our home turf, and we gonna win here, baby. Let's win on 3. 1, 2, 3.
The Giants took advantage of 3 first-half turnovers by the Redskins to build a commanding early lead.
Quick slant over the middle. Touchdown, Callaway. And the Giants move out ahead. 16-0.
The game was in danger of being over in the first quarter. In the second half, Hostetler threw a touchdown bomb to pull Washington within 10.
Going
Deep over the middle. Got Connell down there at the 5. Caught. Touchdown. Washington Redskins.
Just like I told the offense a little bit ago. You want to win a championship? Right there, right now. All right? It's all right for you, right there. Win a game, defense win a championship.
The Giants' 4th interception off Hostetler finished the Redskins.
Looks, throws right. Pass intercepted by Sehorn. The receiver fell. Sehorn down the left sideline to the 10. 5. Touchdown Giants. And the Giants may have put it down in the Redskin coffin.
Nice job, man. That's a sweeper.
They said we couldn't do it. We fooled them all. We fooled them all. We ain't done yet. We're not done yet.
The victory caused a personality change in the usually docile Fossil.
Your will is what got us right where we are. That is an absolutely fabulous job. We set out that we were going to fight for something, and we fought for it. And I'm going to tell you something, man. It's been a while since it's been like this around here. But you know what? We're back.
Some teams are in a hurry to just get the season over with. The Falcons and Eagles are both out of the playoff hunt. But while Philadelphia has shown only flashes of their potential, Atlanta has been the NFL's second-half surprise. With the game tied at 17 and under a minute left, Harold Green put the Falcons in position for a game-winning field goal.
Green cuts the middle of the field. He's still alive. 45-40. Harold Green, 35. Go Harold. He's at the 25 and the 20. Hold on to the ball down to the 18-yard line. Harold Green, what a run after the kick. Bye-bye. Here's the snap. Ball's down. Kick is up, and it is through there. Falcons win.
Morton Anderson's kick gave the Falcons their 5th win in a row.
Constitution, oldest battleship afloat, nicknamed Old Ironsides. Old Ironsides because cannonballs would bounce off its oak sides. Today we have Drew Bledsoe, quarterback of New England Patriots. Been getting some cannonballs bounced off your sides there after last week's game, haven't you?
Yeah, a little bit. We, you know, we had the game, you know, won. We had it in control, and then they make a play, and all of a sudden, you know, we're in overtime and they win the thing. So
I want you to explain. You run on first down, you run on second down, you take all their timeouts. Explain to all the fans of football why you throw on third down.
Well, first of all, we're right up against the 2-minute warning, and so an incompletion really is going to maybe cost us 4 or 5 seconds. It's not going to cost us much from a time standpoint. And if we can get that first down, if we can, you know, get the 7 yards, whatever it is, then the game's over. We can kneel on it after that. So that was the thinking going into it.
So even if you ran the ball there, the 2-minute warning is going to stop the
2-minute warning is going to stop it, and so you know, I think it was there's like 2:06 or 2:07 on the clock, so it wasn't going to save us a whole bunch of time by running the ball.
I'm watching that game and I see the free blitzer coming right in your face. Did the free blitzer cover up the man that was sitting back in the zone?
Well, the guy that picked it, he's the nose guard, so he came from over the center and was looping around like on a twist and then dropped back in there in the middle of it. And Meggett's the hot guy, my hot guy. When that guy blitzed, I got to get rid of the ball to Meggett, and he just jumped in front of it. Didn't see him.
People in Boston are calling it the pass. You think that's a fair evaluation of that one play?
Well, you know, I don't think it probably is going to, you know, stand up, you know, over time with, you know, like the, you know, Bill Buckner's play or some of those plays, because it didn't end our season. You know, we're still gonna move on and get into the playoffs and hopefully do something then. But it was one of those plays that people will remember for a while. I know I'll remember it for a while.
Take us into your locker room. What happens when the game's over? What's said to each other?
Well, it's pretty intense because they, you know, that in a game like that with the consequences that were there for us and you know, the situation we would have been in if we had won the game, we came in. There was some pretty hot tempers in the locker room after that one, and rightfully so. And you know, different guys deal with it different ways, but you know, it was pretty vocal.
When Parcells was here, you played under the pressure of Parcells all the time. Now he's gone, and with what's happened with last week's play, I think you're probably playing under more pressure for this last game than you ever did for Bill. You think you are?
Well, the way that Pete deals with this team is he allows us to take a little bit more responsibility than Bill did for what happens on the field and for what we're doing. And because of that, we do feel probably a little bit more pressure because, it's on us.
We want to thank you for being with us this afternoon.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Lenny, back to you.
How about that Drew Bledsoe? Chris, he didn't dodge anything.
Lenny, that's a man right there. I have a whole new respect for Drew Bledsoe with the way he's handled this entire situation.
For Drew and his teammates, it's very simple. If they beat Miami, they win the AFC East and they're in the playoffs. But Nick, for Washington, it's a little different. They can make the playoffs, but they need to win and also get some help from other teams. And they're hosting Philadelphia this week.
Yeah, Jeff Hostetler, the quarterback, having all kinds of problems. I said last week that he would hit the giant cornerbacks more than his own receivers. He did. But I think this game comes down to Ricky Watters. He's playing for a new contract. He wants to impress other teams. I think he grinds out a win over the Redskins.
I don't think so. I think the Redskins are going to win because Philadelphia has some problems on defense. They got some guys hurting. Their best defensive player, linebacker William Thomas, he's not going to be playing. Defensive tackle Rhett Hall, he is out of there. Now, even when those guys did play, there were 6 running backs during the course of the year that rushed for over 100 yards. I like Washington.
There is a possibility that Terry Allen could come back for the Washington Redskins this week and take a little bit of pressure off of Jeff Hostetler, but Hostetler simply has to play better. I have some questions about his ability to get the ball down the field. Everything seems to be a dump off to a back or a tight end, but there are some holes in this Eagles secondary. I think Hostetler is going to pick it up. I like Washington.
Gentlemen, at least the Philadelphia-Washington game has some playoff implications, unlike last Sunday night's game between the Bears and the Rams.
Tony Banks looked like one cool customer last Sunday, and why not? St. Louis certainly wasn't feeling any playoff pressure, and the Rams' relaxed attitude enabled them to get a 7-0 lead on Chicago. But eventually their rather casual approach to pass defense started them on yet another downward slide.
Heaves it deep down the right side, got single coverage, and coming back for it, Conway makes the catch. Penalty marker thrown. Conway gets up with the 15 to the 10 to the 5. Touchdown! Haji Allen one-on-one. Tried to break up the ball. Conway able to make the catch. There was no contact made. Conway got up 55 yards. Touchdown, Chicago.
St. Louis had a chance to erase Chicago's 13-10 advantage, but Banks, who was responsible for all 5 St. Louis turnovers, was intercepted by Tom Carter with 1:39 remaining to play. Dave Wanstead and the Bears will close out the season against the Bucs, whose most recent trip to New Jersey provided some food for thought.
All right, everybody hungry? We got some really great food here today. We got braquinada, pasta fazool, homemade chili, and this is what the Jets do today. The Jets today definitely win. I'll give you something else. Miami, New England tie next week. The Jets win the division by beating Detroit. No doubt about it.
But the Jets' immediate focus was serving up a steady diet of punishment to Trent Dilfer, who suffered through a miserable day in the Meadowlands.
Dilfer, quick throw, and it's incomplete and picked off, intercepted by Otis Smith down the right side. Otis Smith breaks a tackle. He's to the 10. He's in. Touchdown, Jets.
Less than 5 minutes later, Smith struck again.
Play action. Dilfer, very deep drop. Dilfer unloads near side. It's intercepted. Picked off again by Otis Smith down the right side. He's got the 20. He's got the 10, and he's in.
Tampa Bay remained positive when the second half opened.
Let's kick off. Ready?
But Leon Johnson sealed a victory message that was signed with many happy returns.
Finds an opening. He's across the 30. He's across the 40. Johnson into Tampa Bay territory down the left side. Nothing but daylight. He's gone.
Even though there was nothing tricky about the Jets' win, it left 2 head coaches mystified.
Congratulations. I don't know either, but that was a great job by you guys. Hope you win next week.
I hope you get in there, Tony.
The atmosphere inside the Metrodome was electric, with a playoff berth at stake for both the Lions and Vikings.
Hey, let's get back on track. Let's turn it up a notch today. Let's turn it up. We got to play it like a playoff game. Hey, we got everything on the line. If we win, we're here. All right? Playoffs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Playoffs!
Minnesota took the early lead.
And a handoff, fake toss-off. A flip to Smith's got room on the 20. Touch upside down. At the 5. Touchdown. He walks it in.
but the Lions would roar back.
Listen to me now. The protection is good. We got to get running the ball a little bit better, though. Okay, just stay after them and we will.
Barry Sanders' 138 yards extended his NFL record to 13 consecutive games with over 100 yards rushing and kept the Lions in this hard-fought game. Detroit trailed 13-7 until the final minute of play when the pressure shifted to Minnesota's defense.
Time to get ugly, baby! Let's go, D! Get ugly!
Viking fans are back into it thanks to you folks. From the Viking 32, Mitchell stepping up. They're after him. He fires. Herman Moore the catch at the 12.
With 6 seconds to play at the 1, the Lions were down to their last bullet.
Come on, defense, one more time. Here we go. First and goal at the 1-yard line. Mitchell, to Moore, the fake. Got it! Touchdown! Herman Moore! Get to Harris! Show you we had to have this one today.
Despite a foot injury that kept him out of practice and on crutches all week, Herman Moore's game-winning catch was his 100th reception of the season. More importantly, it kept the Lions in the playoff hunt, heading into Sunday's showdown with the Jets.
That's the way to hang in there. You know what I'm saying? That's the way to hang in there. Back it up.
The heart of the lion, baby! You're the heart! You're the heart!
Tell you what, that's the best win I've ever had in all of my coaching career. It's a tremendous comeback, a tremendous comeback. It's nothing that's ever been any better. And you had it today. I couldn't be more proud of you. We got 2 games left at least, man. We got.
As ranks, make ready. Take aim. Steady. Steady. Coming up on Inside the NFL.
Highlights of what could be Jerry Rice's last touchdown. And the where are they now of former Raiders running back Pete Banaszak, just as successful off the field as he was on.
Fire!
As HBO's Roadshow continues from New England, fire! Home of the Patriots.
These Patriots during the Revolutionary War, they were fighting for their lives. The present-day Patriots who really play at Foxborough, they're trying to get back to the playoffs, and they're fighting for their playoff lives. With us right now as a perennial All-Pro, the man who really is the mainstay of the offensive line of the Patriots, Bruce Armstrong. Bruce, great to be having you with us.
Thanks, Nick. Good to be
now,
here.
you've been through some hard times here with the New England Patriots, 1-15 one year, but you've outlasted the players, you've outlasted coaches, you've outlasted owners. I want to ask you, did Bill Parcells, during his day, did he teach you guys how to win?
He did. He left a great impression on the team, and it was one that was built over time. You know, everything he did, he tried to make you understand that it was all directed toward winning football games, and almost everything that we did as a team was always pointed toward that direction.
It's Pete Carroll. Now, you guys have him. He's in here as the first-year coach, following in Parcells' footsteps. Is he tough enough to get you guys back to a Super Bowl? Does he have control enough of this team to get you guys back there?
In a perfect world, he's the kind of coach you need. If you had 45, 50 guys who were always going to be where they were supposed to be and do what they were supposed to do, and they all had the interests of the football teams at hand. But it's not a perfect world, and you don't always have everybody in the same direction. So, you know, you had one guy who was kind of stern, kind of like a taskmaster who tried to rule everything, and you had another guy who's trusting you to act like a professional and counting on you doing what you're supposed to do, which is your job. And I think that's just a wide gap for this team, and it kind of happened too quick, and in some instances we suffered a little bit because of it.
I want to take you back to that Pittsburgh game. I know you'd like to forget that one. You guys had to be a devastating loss for your team.
The game is kind of like a microcosm of what was going on with our season. You know, it's been good, but has it been good enough to get us to where we want to be? And on Saturday, it wasn't good enough. You know, our goal wasn't to get back into the playoffs. Our goal was to get back to the Super Bowl and to win it. So we made the road tougher for ourselves to get back there, but we still have the opportunity to do it, and there's no time left. We have to do it on Monday.
Curtis Martin, he's been hurt for the last couple ball games. He has a shoulder injury, and it's not separated, but it's bruised severely. Your running game has gone nowhere the last couple ball games. Now, Is it the players that are substituting for Curtis, or is it the fact that the coaches are giving up on the run too soon in the game?
This is a tough show, huh? You try to put me in a position. You know, the thing about it is, a back like Curtis, a gifted player like that, you kind of take him for granted because he's able to do so many things that other people can't. And then when you take him out, you realize how much or how good he is or how big a factor he was to your offense. You have beliefs in the players that play behind him, but they aren't as good as him. I mean, there are not a lot of Curtis Martins in this league.
If you don't get to the Super Bowl again, will the season have been a loss for you?
Personally, my season would have been a failure. I mean, when I got coming off that game last year, you work out all season, you do what you have to do, and the goal was set this year, not to get back to the Pro Bowl, not to get to the playoffs. The goal was set to get back to the Super Bowl and to win it. And anything less than that, I have to constitute as a failure.
Bruce, thanks so much for being on the show, and I look forward to you being in the Hall of Fame in Canton.
Wow. Thank you, Nick.
Back to you, Lenny.
In his 11 seasons, Bruce Armstrong has played for 5 Patriot head coaches, but none had the expectations of current head coach Pete Carroll, who inherited a Super Bowl team and had the task of following a legend, Bill Parcells.
The Pats are 4-0. This is incredible. Let Parcells go to New York. I can't believe this. Carroll's a genius. He's looking great.
This team isn't going anywhere with Pete the Posey. They quit on him in New York, and they quit on him today.
The moment Pete Carroll stepped on these sidelines as head coach of the New England Patriots, more than a few people, maybe even some in his own locker room, wanted him to be another Bill Parcells. But let's face it, Pete Carroll is not the big tuna, nor does he want to be. But as we approach the end of his first season in charge of the New England Patriots, the jury is still out on what kind of head coach he is and what kind of team he has formed.
I'm perceived as in a comparative sense, as opposed to really what we're doing and what we're all about. And that's probably going to exist for a while longer until we figure it all out and they figure me out, or maybe it won't go away. I don't know.
Nothing could prepare one of the game's best defensive coordinators in his seemingly no-win situation. Embracing last year's overachieving Super Bowl team, expectations were huge in the Patriot Nation, and they loved their quick 4-win start.
Pete Carroll has not done a bad job this year.
But when the midseason slump struck with the team losing 5 of 7 games, discontent soared.
Just a disgusting performance by us.
New England struggled through inconsistent performances, and Carroll's doubters grew as the first-year coach led his squad through the growing pains of the transition to his West Coast-styled system.
There's all kinds of areas for improvement, and in time, you improve. I think if you're observant and you're perceptive and you work at it, which is happening and will be ongoing.
I think he's learning. I mean, I don't think we have a stamp on our team. You know what I'm saying? We haven't determined what we are yet under Pete Carroll. With Bill Parcells, it was the ultimate dictator. I mean, he was the #1 head honcho, and everybody knew that. With Pete, I think he came in and let guys be their own man, and sometimes that's good and sometimes it's bad.
Some guys love the freedom. Some guys love the fact that, okay, it's up to me now. I'm a man. I've been through 4 years of college. I can do this. I can come in with some leadership.
But last month, the laid-back coach stepped out of character and for the first time publicly challenged his starters, Slade, McGinnis, and Bledsoe, and the ship was temporarily righted.
We're going all the way to the Super Bowl.
But last week, the turmoil returned full throttle on one questionable call turned bad against the Steelers.
It's time for Bob Kraft to find a new coach.
Impatience grows, and the Parcells comparisons have reemerged, raising the questions and the stakes in Monday night's showdown for first place with Miami.
We just got to get over the pain of losing a game that was in our hands. This is not going to be devastating to us. There's too much at hand, and there's too much ahead of us, and a job to be done.
He came in, he put it right behind everybody, he put it on the back burner, and he got right to Miami, which a good coach like he is should do.
Pete Carroll entered this year knowing the deal. If his team didn't return to the Super Bowl, the season would be a failure in comparison to last year.
it's going to exist, you know, right now, and that's part of what this job makeup is because of last year, because of the dynamic, you know, head coach that was here and all that he could do and what he's doing now, and that's just part of it. So, you know, on we go, you know, deal with it.
Even after 16 weeks, we know very little about this coach and his uneven team. But one thing that is clear, this extreme season couldn't have been any more challenging or urgent for Pete Carroll. And his defining moment may yet come in this final game of the regular season.
Carroll certainly has his share of problems right now, but he could have a whole lot more if they fail to make it to the playoffs. And, Nick, that's a strong possibility if the Jets go to Detroit and beat the Lions.
Yeah, no one prepares a team better for a football game than Bill Parcells. But even he's going to have trouble getting a defunct offense energized. Now, let's face it, you got Luther Ellis. You've got Robert Porcher, Stephen Boyd from the Detroit Lions. They're going to shut down Adrian Morrell. And without the running game, Neil O'Donnell is dead. I like Detroit.
You know, Parcells is a magician, but he's not Houdini. And I don't think anybody can wake up this offense right now. Their offensive line has been so bad. They can't run the football at all. They can't pass protect for Neil O'Donnell. And on the other side, you have Barry Sanders going for 2,000 yards in a crazy stadium with the playoffs on the line. Let me think.
Think about it.
Take the Lions.
You know, Parcells would like to do to the Lions what he was able to do against Tampa Bay, and that is shut down the running game. That also means the cornerbacks will play man-to-man coverage. Well, last week, Otis Smith did a great job. 2 interceptions, running back for touchdowns, but I don't think he'll do it against Herman Moore and Johnny Morton. I like Detroit.
Well, Herman Moore is injured. He's got that bad foot, and he may not be as effective. But I think the news in Detroit is their quarterback, Scott Mitchell. The last drive of the ball game, he takes that team down in and wins the game with 3 seconds. I was at the game, and I watched the sidelines. He went over the sideline so emotional, he started to cry. Every offensive lineman came over and gave him a hug. I think he's a new leader, and Detroit wins.
Every game before the game, they all go hug Barry Sanders.
Oh, I'd hug him every day.
I would too. Barry Sanders, speaking of him, he's one of the greatest to ever put on a football jersey, and one day his number will be retired by the Lions, similar to the treatment the 49ers gave to Joe Montana last Monday night.
Last Monday night was a time to honor heroes in San Francisco. The legendary Joe Montana had his jersey retired at halftime, and Jerry Rice made a remarkable return from a knee injury that was supposed to sideline him for the season. But Rice has long proven that he is no ordinary athlete, and he completed his amazing comeback with a second quarter scoring catch.
To the end zone, caught, Jerry Rice, touchdown 49ers, and Rice is back.
Rice became the first non-kicker to score 1,000 points in his career, but it came at a price. The receiver suffered a fractured kneecap on the play and now will be out for the playoffs. With Rice once again sidelined, the 49ers defense seized control of the game.
Throws backwards and is picked off. Morton Hanks along the sideline. He's one block. He's down to the 30. He's down to the 20. He's down to the 5. Touchdown, Morton Hanks.
Merton Hanks' score broke a 17-17 tie, and in the fourth quarter, Kevin Green put the game away.
And this time they smack him down. For the first time tonight, the ball comes loose. Kevin Green has it. Green's running.
The win wrapped up home field advantage throughout the playoffs for the 49ers, while the Bronco loss ensured that the Chiefs would enjoy the same luxury in the AFC. A good coach should always keep his playbook in a safe spot, but even the Chiefs' Marty Schottenheimer knows the spectacular plays aren't drawn up on paper.
Blake Dawson stretches out for the football. Touchdown! Phil Cox, quick out pattern, intercepted by Mighty Mouse. There he goes.
Mark McMillan's interception stopped a late fourth quarter scoring drive, allowing the Kansas City defense to extend their NFL record of not giving up a second half touchdown to 10 straight games.
Mighty Mouse's third interception of the season for a touchdown. Mighty Mouse goes 85 yards for a touchdown. Kansas City.
Next, the Chiefs host the Saints at Arrowhead Stadium, where they are 7-0 this season. Christmas in the Superdome is just another excuse for everyone to get dressed up and dance. Cardinal rookie quarterback Jake Plummer was in a groove of his own as the Snakes slithered through the Saints defense for his first NFL touchdown. But in the end, it was Billy Joe Hobert rattling the Cardinals for 3 touchdown passes. Mike Ditka is enjoying the Christmas spirit now that his team has doubled last year's win total.
Bunker Hill, the Patriots of that day lost the battle but went on to win the war. And that's exactly what the Patriots of the New England area are hoping to do this week. Joining us on the program now, a couple of the star defensive players, Ted Johnson, the middle linebacker who leads this team in tackles, Chris Slade, who's going to the Pro Bowl this year after leading the team in sacks. I know that was a tough loss against Pittsburgh. Ted, have you guys recovered from it yet?
Well, I don't know if we fully recovered from it, Chris. I mean, obviously the loss was quite devastating. To think that you had the game in hand, and the effort level was really quite outstanding for us the entire night. It was a hard loss to bounce back from, but we really have no choice. We have one game left, and it's a do-or-die situation for us. So hopefully we can keep our heads up and move on.
Just after the interception, and they went on to tie the game with the 2-point conversion, Pete Carroll was going up and down the sideline trying to get the defensive players fired up, and it looked like you guys just wanted nothing to do with him. Was there a little resentment factor there for having called the pass play in that situation and not relying on the defense?
I don't think it was any resentment there. I think guys actually at the time were probably pretty fatigued. I mean, we had been on the field a long time, and I'm sure if we didn't give him positive gestures back, I'm sure it wasn't because we didn't want to hear what he had to say. I think it was more like, just we're tired, we need a break.
Is the emotion going to be easy to find in light of what happened in that last game against Pittsburgh? Does it make it easier or tougher for this one?
It's tough, obviously. I mean, this is probably, in all my years of playing football, probably the toughest, loss I've ever had to go through. I mean, 2 minutes left, you're already thinking about where you're taking mom and dad for dinner. So it's a tough loss to handle, but I'm confident that we have the guys on the team to get this thing done, so we'll be okay.
Chris, for you last year, Bill Parcells essentially put you on the bench for a large part of the ball game, said you were just a pass rusher, that was your role on this team. You've come back this season under this scheme with Pete Carroll, and now you're going to the Pro Bowl after what is probably your best season ever. A little bit of redemption for you personally?
I use it as motivation when I did go in there, try to make something happen. And this year kind of carried over. I wanted to try to make a statement not only to myself, but I guess to everybody that, that I can play every down and I should be out there. So I got some extra satisfaction to go into the Pro Bowl.
Ted, has this been like shock therapy for you guys this year? Because you go from Bill Parcells, who's one of the toughest, most heavy-handed coaches in football, to Pete Carroll, who is probably on the opposite extreme. Has it been tough to adjust as a team?
I think we had our problems early on. I think a lot of us didn't really know where Coach Carroll was coming from, and I'm confident now that we're all on the same page and that we're making the adjustments and we're doing fine.
One final question, guys. If you had your choice, would you rather play against the Miami Dolphins offense this week or your own offense for what happened last week?
No comment.
Lenny, back to you.
Uh-oh, no comment. That tells me the defense is still angry at the offense for blowing that Pittsburgh game.
And they're right. The offense did blow the game.
Well, I'll tell you what offense they don't want to face, and that is the Indianapolis Colts. Did they embarrass Miami or what? This week they're going to Minneapolis to take on the Vikings. The Vikings need a win to make it to the playoffs. I would hate to play the Colts right now.
Yeah, but it's not the offense of the Colts that's winning games. It's the defense line. The last 3 ball games, this defense only given up 66 yards on the ground per game. How about 189 total yards in the last 3 ball games? Now that's playing solid defense. You got Dan Footman, you got Ellis Johnson. They're going to chase Randall Cunningham right out of the Metrodome. The Colts win.
Does he like the Colts or what? Does he like him?
Chase Randall right out of there? I didn't know they could do that. What do you mean it's not the offense? What about Jim Harbaugh? He's on a roll. The last 3 ball games, 6 touchdown passes and no interceptions. The Vikings have lost 5 in a row. I am going with the Colts.
I was at the Minnesota Viking game last week, and you'd be proud of their running game. Robert Smith and Leroy Hoard are pounding that football. Great attitude sticking it up in there. But you run for attitude, you got to throw for points. And ever since they put Randall Cunningham at quarterback, their passing game's way too conservative. They can't score enough points to keep up with that Colts.
I guess they're going to run Randall right out of that stadium again. Both of these teams do play in domes. You know, when the Colts go on the road, they take only the players and the coaches. Unlike the Green Bay Packers, when they go on the road, it seems like they take their fans along as well.
The Green Bay Packers can deliver the NFL's best knockout punch, and they can also withstand one. The Carolina Panthers' only heavyweight on offense has been their surprising rookie running back, Fred Lane.
Right side cuts back left 30, 25, 20. It's a sprint. 10, 5. Lane dive in the end zone. Touchdown.
This overmatched club fighter was first softened up and then dispatched with haymakers.
That wasn't one of those layup passes. That was on a dead line all the way 40 or 50 yards far as what an arm that kid's got.
Brett Favre has an unwavering belief in both his arm and in his receivers.
You're talking about concentration. He had a guy on each side of him in some way came up with a football. That's as good a catch as I've seen this year.
The Packers cruise to an easy 31-10 victory, and the possibility of another Super Bowl appearance gains momentum with each passing week. While Green Bay look forward to the NFL's second season, Steve Tasker, a Warrior for 13 years, played his final game in Buffalo. Power met power at the line of scrimmage as All-Pros Tony Boselli and Bruce Smith met head-to-head. The Jaguars won most of the skirmishes and ultimately the game itself.
Now runs. Here he comes across the 10. He's at the 5. He's into the end zone. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
With a minute to play and trailing by 6, Alex Van Pelt's hurried pass proved disastrous. While it will be a gloomy postseason in Buffalo, it has been a bleak and dreary year in Oakland. Against the fading Seahawks, the Raiders burst to a 21-3 lead. Sam Adams led a defense which almost pushed the Oakland offensive line into San Francisco. The Raiders crumbled under both real and imagined pressure. Seattle rallied to within 2 points of victory.
Spins down to the 5. Chris to the goal line. He's in. Touchdown, Seahawks.
Then the Seahawks cemented the comeback.
Kick is on the way. The kick is good. He hit it.
This head-turning victory was trumped by a head-spinning upset staged by those giant-killing Indianapolis Colts. Jim Harbaugh dealt the Dolphins their worst defeat in 30 years as the Colts scored 31 points in the second quarter. Tight end Ken Dilger, who had no touchdowns all season, caught 3 of Harbaugh's 4 scoring passes.
They're going to throw it deep. And Dilger is there. Touchdown! Kenny Dilger!
The Dolphins' astonishing 41-0 loss sets up a crucial matchup against the Patriots on Monday night.
Became famous for calling out 1 if by land, 2 if by sea.
Who did he play for?
The original Patriots. You know, the team that Nick played for during the Revolutionary War. Yes. But he'd have to add a third one now. That would be 3 if by air. Now it's going to be by air in Miami when the Dolphins host the Patriots to determine the AFC East Division Championship. I think the team that can throw the ball the best is going to win.
I know New England's strategy, very simple. The same strategy they employed last year against Pittsburgh in the playoffs. That is, they're going to take Terry Glenn, 9.3 speed, go after Calvin Jackson and Terrell Buckley. They want to test that Dolphins secondary early. They want to get on the board early, and they want to break the spirit of the Dolphins.
You know, Dan Marino is going to be tested in this one as well, because the most improved part of this entire New England team has been the play of their secondary. Ty Law on one side has had a terrific season at cornerback, but his running mate now, Jimmy Hitchcock, has really been picking up his play. So you're going to see Ty Law against O.J. McDuffie. That'll be a great battle. And then it's going to be Jimmy Hitchcock against Dan Marino. Dan's going to throw over there all day long. Whoever wins that one-on-one battle is going to win the football game.
Secondaries. You want to talk about secondaries? What about the Miami Dolphins secondary? Hello, where were they? Where were they? I never saw people so wide open as last week. Jimmy Johnson rotating the safeties, putting a different guy in there each week has backfired. Watch the New England run a little bit of tight end motion and try to expose the same mistakes.
Hello. I want to talk about that secondary of the Miami Dolphins as well. Jim Harbaugh threw 4 touchdown passes last week against them, 3 to his tight end, Ken Dilger. Now, Ben Coates, he likes to catch touchdown passes. He's an outstanding receiver for the Patriots. He's going to say, I want to get to Miami right now to test that secondary, and I think he'll get there, he'll catch touchdown passes, and the Patriots will win. Don't you agree?
No, I don't agree.
No?
You forgot a couple guys. Jason Taylor, Derek Rogers. While Bledsoe's in the pocket, they're going to be chasing him down. I think Miami wins.
I disagree with you. Let me tell you why. Nobody's talked about special teams. All-pro this year for the Patriots, Larry Wiggum. He'll be the big factor. Blocking a punt, Patriots win.
Well, I disagree with you, and I'll tell you why. I know how Dan Marino reacts to a poor game. He comes back with that look in his eye, and he takes over a football game. That'll happen this week. For Drew Bledsoe, I don't know how he reacts to a disaster like last week. I'm going with the sure thing. I like Miami.
I disagree with you. Well, I've already gone through that. All right, let's talk about something else. I played 19 years of professional football, and one of the stadiums I'll never forget is Baltimore's Memorial Stadium, which closed its doors for the final time last week.
Johnny Unitas and the old Colts returned last Sunday to run the final play ever at Memorial Stadium.
Here's the offense with Unitas. He gives the ball to Lionel Mitchell. A reverse to Lenny Moore. Lenny Moore around the left side. He might go all the way.
In a post-game ceremony, Lenny Moore unofficially became the last player ever to score on this field. And during the game, Eric Zeier and the Ravens were looking to give the 43-year-old stadium a successful send-off of their own.
In the pocket now, moving around to the near side, under pressure, runs out of the tackle, has a man open, it's Green, he's got it, inside the 10-5, touchdown, Eric Green. Zeier made that play.
Oilers quarterback Steve McNair also made the plays with 2 rushing touchdowns. With the Ravens up by 2 in the fourth quarter, Zeier's 3rd touchdown pass of the day proved to be the decisive score.
Looking in the end zone, throwing Alexander, and he catches a touchdown. What a catch.
With the Colts of old passing the torch to Baltimore's team of today, the Ravens look to begin their own tradition in their new stadium next season. This week, the Ravens finish out the '97 season in Cincinnati, where the Bengals are giving fans a glimmer of hope for next year. Last Sunday, the Bengals hosted the Cowboys, who sprang to life far too late with 2 David LaFleur touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Dallas's scores weren't enough to overcome the 31 unanswered points the Bengals scored in the second and third quarters. Eric Bieniemy scored once, and number 28 rookie Corey Dillon rushed for 127 yards to go over 1,000 yards for the season. Quarterback Boomer Esiason continued his amazing renaissance with a pair of scoring strikes.
Boomer to throw, waiting, throws long downfield. Got him.
And the Bengals are pouring it on.
The reborn Bengals scored more than 30 points for the 4th straight game, while the lifeless Cowboys finished the year 1-7 on the road, and now have to wonder how to regain their championship luster next season.
beautiful State House here in Massachusetts. Certainly no part of the country has a greater sense of history than does this Boston area. And joining us on the program now, our own Gary Myers. And Gary, earlier on the show, Nick Bonacani was talking about the scene in the Patriots locker room after that devastating loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. How bad was it?
Chris, it was a very, very emotional time for the Patriots in the minutes following that game. Patriots safety Willie Clay was the most emotional guy in that room. He said his comments were not directed at anybody specifically, but basically questioning why this team could not close out the close games. He was so upset that he said he had to be calmed down by Keith Byers, one of his teammates, and also by Andre Tippett, a former Patriot who now works in the team's front office. And Chris, just walking around that locker room, I really get the feeling it's a fragile team going into its most important game of the season, Monday night in Miami.
You know, the Patriots aren't the only team that has to bounce back for this one. The Miami Dolphins got blown away by the Colts.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson said he's never been through anything like that 41-0 loss. In fact, he said it's the first time he can ever remember not even speaking to his team at halftime. He said, what was he going to say? They were losing 34-0, never showed him the game tapes this week. In the first team meeting, he told them the goal before the season was to win the AFC East. That goal is still within reach. He told the team it's time for them to put up or shut up.
All right, now let's talk about the big story of the week. Jerry Rice. Was his new injury related to the past surgery?
Chris, certainly that's been a topic of great debate the last couple of days. 49ers president Carm Policy said they cannot definitively say that because the injury, the break in his kneecap was across the knee. The bone graft from the surgery in September was down the knee. So he said no definitive statement can be made. He said there's no question that the team acknowledges that the risk of re-injury was greater because of the surgery in September, but letting Jerry back on the field was within NFL guidelines on injuries.
Whatever that might be. Why not just rest Jerry Rice for the additional 2 or 3 weeks and let him play in the playoffs?
That's a really good question, and one that's being asked again. You know, why didn't they just wait? Policy says that the risk of re-injury was no greater Monday night than it would have been in 3 weeks in the playoffs, but certainly the risk of re-injury was greater than if they just waited until next August to let him return. By not putting Jerry Rice on injury reserve, they opened the door for him to come back this year.
All right, Gary, well, thanks.
Okay, Chris.
Well, when the Oakland Raiders were the winningest team of the 60s and 70s, they always had tough players, tough quarterbacks, and especially tough running backs. And the guy that personified that image really more than any other was Pete Banaszak. And he's the subject of this week's Where Are They Now?
I wasn't blessed with a lot of speed. I wasn't the biggest guy. I was kind of a garbage type of ball player. I knew my role as a Raider, and the key was that when they called on me, get the job done.
On the great Raider teams of the 60s and 70s, the toughest jobs usually went to Pete Banaszak, who made a 13-year career out of excelling with the game on the line. Over those 13 years, Pete scored 47 touchdowns and was an integral part of the most dominant team in professional sports.
I think I played 9 AFC championship games, played with some of the greatest players that ever played the game, and played in some of the greatest ball games that were ever played, like the Holy Roller, the Immaculate Reception, the Heidi game.
Heart was money. We'd be all millionaires on this team because we got a lot of guys with heart. Everybody played their guts out there today, and just a super effort.
Man, I just get starting to sweat thinking about it. Those were great days.
Pete Banaszak retired in 1978 as the oldest running back in the league. A deep love for the Raiders became secondary to his need to move on.
I just wanted the pleasure to walk in Al Davis' office and say, Al, thanks a lot for 13 great years. Adios, I'm out of here. And I did that, but I knew that was the best for me.
After a long and successful run with the Raiders, Pete began to devote full-time attention to his off-season job with an ocean shipping company based in Jacksonville. Now in his 20th year as Vice President of National Accounts, Pete's passion for work continues to fuel his competitive streak.
You know, before a football game, you sit in the locker room and you sweat. I do that today before I'm about to enter a client's office and talk about a $10 million contract. It gets the adrenaline flowing, and it feels like I'm almost on the 5-yard line, and I got to get that ball in the end zone and get that contract signed and get out of there.
Despite a hectic work schedule, which has him traveling up to 40 weeks a year, Sundays are still reserved for football. Pete is entering his third season as host of a weekly Jacksonville Jaguars postgame radio show.
Oh, I'm into it. Hey, this is the greatest time of the year, Cole. Hey, this is better than Christmas. It's football season.
As president of the NFL Alumni Jacksonville chapter, Pete has also been a driving force in raising money for local children's groups.
$55,000.
At 53 years old, Pete Banasak is still very much of a man on the move. His limited free time is spent out on the golf course or with his family. With one daughter in college and one in the business world, it's Pete's wife, Sue, who gets most of his attention.
She's a wonderful lady, a lady that's gone through a lot of good times with me and a lot of hard times with me. We try to take one day a week where we spend it alone on the golf course or working in the yard. I'm not much for working in the yard, but she's a bright lady that is my best friend.
From the Oakland Raiders to Jacksonville, Florida, Pete Banasak has carried on the winning tradition.
Pete Banasak, there is a terrific guy. I'm happy to see that he's doing so well. You played against him.
Boy, what a tough guy, Lenny. When you talk about commitment to excellence, this is what Al Davis was talking about, not the guys he has today.
Well, commitment to excellence, we do that every week on the pick segment. Last week, once again, the excellence was by Chris Collinsworth.
Yes, sir.
Where was the commitment?
Yeah, that's
I'm
right.
committed.
He needs to be
I'm getting
committed.
committed.
He should get committed when we take a look at what's happening for the season. You're way down there, Jerry Glanville. Way down there. Earlier in the show, we picked the games with playoff implications. Here are our picks for the other games. Buffalo says goodbye to special teams ace Steve Tasker, but we all like Green Bay in Lambeau Field. St. Louis travels to Carolina. We all agree the Panthers will close the season on a winning note. Dan Reeves turned the Falcons around in the second half of the season. They'll defeat Arizona. We all agree that Baltimore will fall to Cincinnati. Chicago has won 2 straight games, but we all like Tampa Bay to head into the playoffs on a winning note. Jacksonville still has hopes of a home wild card game. They'll defeat the Raiders. New Orleans is last in offense. They're last in scoring. They'll really have a difficult time scoring on that Kansas City Chiefs defense. We all like the Chiefs. Nick, Jerry, and I like the Giants to beat the Cowboys, but Chris likes Dallas. Jerry and I like the Steelers in Tennessee. Chris and Nick like the Oilers. San Diego travels to Denver. Broncos running back Terrell Davis is questionable, but we all like Denver regardless. And Nick, Jerry, and I like the 49ers to win in Seattle, but Chris likes the Seahawks. That's our show for this week. We'd like to thank the Harborside Hyatt for their tremendous hospitality and for this great view of the Boston skyline. For Nick, Chris, and Jerry, I'm Len Dawson saying thanks for watching, and join us again next week from our New York studio as we preview a wild card weekend on the show the pros watch, Inside the NFL.
Celebrating 25 years as the network of champions. This has been a presentation